Do you know any clean jokes you'd want to share with us?
I should have prepared for that one, Rhino.
He was all ready to go until you said clean.
I do have a little story about Guadalupe bike. When I took the president position in 2016, I decided I wanted to do a blessing of the bikes and make this an annual event. So I went out to Benton City and talked with Father out there, and we had our first bike blessing out there. We had 17 bikes, and I brought out my Softail, and I just recently finished the paint work on it and put the bike back together. And people admired it and walked around it. And when the blessing was over and people were starting to take off and leave, a couple of little Hispanic kids that were at the church walked over to the bike, and one of them looked at the bike and pointed and said, Mom, Guadalupe, Guadalupe. So ever since that, I've been calling the bike the Guadalupe bike.
That's awesome. Named for a couple of little kids, or by a couple of little kids.
Yep.
Hey, welcome to our podcast. This is the very first of what we hope is going to be many, 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 many to come. The unofficial Nights on Bikes podcast. And today we're featuring none other than the infamous, I think I can say infamous. What do you think, Santa?
Infamous works.
Yeah, infamous. Bruce Blanco Hines. So we'll get to know Bruce during this podcast and all of his history and exciting things that he has happening going on. But in the meantime, my name's Jim Rhino Reincke, and we also have...
I am Bob Santa Smith Anderson.
And we represent the Washington chapter. And Idaho Nights on Bikes, where we both got to know Blanco. Quite a story. We've had the chance to ride with him. We've had a chance to talk with him, break bread with him. We wanted to share his awesomeness with all of you. So welcome, Blanco. Glad you're here today. Yay.
Thank you. I am truly honored to be sitting in a room full of dignitaries as such. It really is great to be in this position.
So how long have you been with Nights on Bikes, Blanco?
I've been involved with Nights on Bikes, or joined Nights on Bikes in 2014, and Slider was the president at that time. After about a year, I took the vacant POD position for Diocese of Yakima and was POD for about a year. And then Mike appointed me state VP in October of 2015. And then in July of 2016, I took the position of state president. So for about 5 years now, I have been filling that role as state president. And there's been a lot of changes with Nights on Bikes in that amount of time, just 2.5 years ago, I guess. Ace Bagley stepped forward, and we now have a pretty nice set of bylaws, something that is very usable and user-friendly. It's been an awesome trip, a lot of prayer, a lot of nights laying asleep, wondering what's going to happen with this or that. But I wouldn't want to change a thing. It's been phenomenal. It really has. Being a part of the Knights of Columbus in a motorcycle mystery, to me, it just doesn't get any better than that.
Do I remember correctly seeing a picture when you first started with Nights on Bikes? You had a full beard and it was black?
That's yeah.
That's what 5 years does.
Oh.
No, that's what hard work does. That's what I meant to say.
Right. No, it's been challenging, but we're going in territory. We've been going in territory for the last 5 years that nobody's gone before. I mean, the advances we're making international wide are new ground, and it's been a lot of thought process for me as president of state Washington. How do I direct the Knights on Bike Northwest in the direction that best fits the needs and wants of the Knights of Columbus? When Bob Baymert was our state deputy, we had a few conversations, and I decided at that point that if we were not recognized in any special way, that I was going to take Knights on Bikes Northwest in a support role and support any of our council programs that needed help, that were struggling, and pick up on those and kind of support our brothers and the state programs director. And from that, our past state deputy, immediate past state deputy, Bob, actually gave us a page on the Washington State Knights of Columbus website. So we are listed as a family member of the Washington State Knights of Columbus. And I am truly thankful that happened, because that really opened up the doors for moving forward.
In the time that you've been involved with Knights on Bikes, what have you seen as the biggest change for our state since you've been around?
So the biggest change that I've seen was having the credibility with a set of bylaws that we could all point to and roll with. And from that, I realized that we have a great a tool here with being road evangelists. In fact, that's how I explain the Knights on Bikes, is we are missionaries. We are road evangelists of the Knights of Columbus.
Well, you know, one of the things that I have learned about you is that you are a very humble person. You don't like to brag on yourself. You don't like to talk about the accomplishments and things that you have done, which I think lends to the awesomeness of your leadership as well.
You know, it's just so amazing. You go out and you just make yourself visible to people. You're just nice to people. You love your neighbor. You love your brother bike rider, and it just grows. It's just truly amazing.
Well, it's one of those tenets, I think, that I have not seen it in the bylaws, but it's certainly true in that, you know, we have an opportunity to be the face of Knights on Bikes and Knights of Columbus and change the way that bikers are viewed. You know, the strides that you've made in your community and throughout the state of Washington and getting recognition has been awesome, quite frankly. Yet you're out there and you're making it happen. And that stretch from Tri-Cities and your connections in the business world and promoting Knights on Bikes even stretched all the way up to North Idaho. Santa, I'm looking at you, buddy. So, why don't you tell us about that?
Oh, the work never stops. We're continuing to grow, and things have been great. This last year, we ran out our first ever going to be annual POCO run in North Idaho. And I really got to know Blanco and Lady Angie and a lot of brothers from across Washington as they came out, and we did a dinner at my house, and we got to know each other and have an incredible ride, get out there, kind of re-energize the local Knights of Columbus Council. They were so excited about it. It was great. We put a couple 100 miles on the bikes. We stopped at 5 parishes. We prayed the Decade of the Rosary at every parish, just asking blessing over the entire region. It was a phenomenal day. Do you have any stories from the POCO run that you want to share with us?
You know, it was phenomenal. It had been so long since I had ridden with over 5 motorcycles on a given ride, and it brought back some great memories of I'll say the old days, but it was the days prior to the Knights of Columbus and Knights on Bikes. It was so amazing is the camaraderie that we had on that ride struck each and every one of us pretty deep. And from that ride alone, our relationship with everybody on that ride has changed to a fraternal camaraderie that I didn't, to tell you the truth, think I would ever be a part of. Santa did a phenomenal job, road captained the ride, I mean, it's still, I can't stop talking about it.
I have to ask you something that might be a little more uncomfortable. What have you seen as one of the biggest hurdles that we're still trying to clear?
I'll share you that answer with you at the council level. Okay. One of the biggest hurdles I still have is with longtime members. It's still hard for some to recognize me wearing this vest and riding my bike as something legit, something indeed that's recognized. And I got to tell you, it's still hurtful. I'm not trying to be different here. I'm simply trying to minister outside the council walls and the council door. But that is still a big hurdle for me, is finding full acceptance from everybody within the council chambers.
Do you think it's because they believe in a stereotype of the biker look and the biker way of life?
I'm going to have to answer that, Jim, is yes, not 100%, but I would say for the gentleman I deal with, at least 50%. It's a challenge. It will change. And if we ever get any kind of a recognition from Supreme that the Knights on Bikes are a part of the Knights of Columbus, they are a ministry, they are a program, however that may look, I think once that happens, that's all going to go away.
No, I agree. And I think it is all a mindset. You know, people see a bunch of guys in leather, the beards and goatees and, riding motorcycles. They think MCs, motorcycle clubs. They think Hell's Angels, and they think, only bad things happen when guys like that get together. And
and they're only half true.
Right.
Wearing the cross of Christ on the back of our vests above the 12-inch emblem of our order, it's very striking. And to other riders, they look at us at least as a man of God. Mm-hmm. And I have been asked more than one time to lead in an opening prayer for a given motorcycle event where there's all kinds of MCs and other clubs there attending. As is said, God will never ask us to do something that we can't do. Well, for me, sometimes I think he's just pushing me right to the edge at every turn. But yeah.
One of the coolest things is to ride past a pack of kids on bikes and you give them the wave, as you would if it a Harley coming the other way. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of motorcycles, because, that is kind of one of the things that defines us as Knights on Bikes. We couldn't do it without the bike part. In fact, why don't you tell us a little bit about this beauty right here?
Sure, you bet. It's a 1950 Panhead that I started building 3 years ago. I actually had a partner on that bike early on, a local MC member here in the Tri-Cities, and I bought that bike together. It was a basket case, came out of Arkansas, and we shipped it up here. And I started building it, and my partner just gave me the free will of design on it. And the more I started on it, the more this vision came to me of calling the bike Sweet Charity and building it as a Father Begivne tribute bike. And finished the bike, and I've taken the bike to 2 state conventions, several workshops, and probably a half a dozen or so bike shows. Yeah, that's a pretty neat bike. It's an old Paco frame that came with the bike. It's all Harley-Davidson motor tranny. And the bike to this day, I've not started it. Some of the limitations on taking a motorcycle into a grand hotel is it can't have any fuel in it, can't have a battery in it. I'm not going to put any fluids in it, and then I'm not going to be leaking oil all over somebody's carpet. But
You mean Harleys leak oil? The old ones do?
No, just the old ones. Just the old ones.
I've never heard that.
It's myth. It's a myth.
But the bike got a lot of attention. It was very good for, obviously, for Nights on Bikes recruitment. Signed up quite a few members. Got a lot of attention. A lot of the state officers came by and asked when I was going to start really selling raffle tickets for it. Well, I started down the discernment process and looking at what I had for inventory, and it just dawned on me, this bike I built as a Father McGivney tribute bike, and I'm calling it Sweet Charity. Wouldn't it be something if I donated this bike? It in turn could be raffled off, and the proceeds go to Combat Veterans International, as well as portion of the funds go back to the chamber. We're gonna raffle that bike off. So now tickets are available. It'll be given away this coming Veterans Day. The neat thing is that I'm now working with Ringgold, and we're doing a program where we're going to be offering a raffle bike T-shirt, and on the back of it, it's got Nights on Bike logo, and we're going to give a ticket for the bike and a custom T-shirt for $20, and we're going to put that out as a special out on our Nights on Bikes gear website. So that's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks.
Is there a limit to how many tickets and T-shirts I can get? Because I need to get my name in this drawing.
Well, Brother Breeze told me the other day he was going to buy 50.
Oh,
okay. That's out of my price range, but I'm definitely going to pick up a few. Well, you gave us a really good segue, probably, I think, unintentionally, but I just brought it up here on the screen. Our Nights on Bikes gear store is something that is fairly new and pretty robust. You want to tell us how that came to be and the arms you had to twist to make that happen?
Well, I've got to give a great bit of kudos to this VP Lawrence Stewart and other members of the executive board on letting us run with this idea. Everybody was going to their own vendors for T-shirts, event patches. I saw a lot of different versions of our logos and our crests. I thought, it would be nice, and this also came about with the trying to find a single source vendor for our crests, for our patches, who supported the Knights of Columbus, the Nights on Bikes, the charity work that we do, and wanted to be involved with that. We now have avenue for each president to order crests, going through our national advocate and Jesus Chavez. So there's a process for all state presidents. The cool thing about Ringgold, 10% of the proceeds is given back to the Knights of Columbus.
Oh, wow.
From Ringgold. Another thing we try to do in the store is supply only made in the USA items.
Well, and it's good to point out too that they're high quality items. And when I came in, was looking for gear, anything cool that I can find. These items on this store, high quality shirts. I love the dress shirt. I'm wearing the beanie. I got the hoodie. I keep looking at it every day to find more product. I have not been displeased once. It's a phenomenal product.
When you place an order, when a president places order for a new member, Ringgold can process and put that order back out in the mail within 2 weeks. I mean, that is phenomenal.
No, that's outstanding. And I visit it because I like all the pictures. I know where those pictures came from. These are all representative of things that dioceses and chapters under your leadership are doing at events, whether it be the POCO run, just out and about. I know we've went to assist with a recognition of a brother at his funeral to support his family in the rain in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Very few people like to get out and ride in the rain, but it was an event that transcended whether we liked it or not, but it was the right thing to do for the family.
Absolutely.
And that was something that you spearheaded for us. And it gave me a whole new appreciation for the power of prayer, the power of brotherhood, and the amazing things that can happen under good leadership.
Thank you. It's not me. It's our Lord and His will that takes us in the direction we take it. But there again, I walk on cloud 9 every day. I'm in my shop working on restoring these vintage motorcycles and being able to wear my vest to church Sunday morning. I'm living it. I mean, it's my world here.
And people think you're security at church too, right?
Yeah.
This is, I know I've seen this picture before and you and I have talked about it a little bit, but we saw that beautiful, sweet charity bike earlier. Is it any relation to the one behind you here, and what's going on here?
Yeah, great question. That is indeed the bike when we officially kicked off the build for it and had blessings done for it. And the current state deputy at the time, Bob Bamer, came out in our invitation and took some pictures, and we had a great visit. And it was, I think this particular day was very instrumental in later on getting a page up on our Knights of Columbus website.
Well, it's outstanding that you are both building those connections with Supreme and entities of Supreme, but doing it in a way that is not normal. Well, here's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that Knights on Bikes, as a part of Knights of Columbus, has the opportunity to draw in and capture the attention of men who either are Knights of Columbus members, but they're just not active, or drawing in new, fresh, blood, as it were, to the Knights of Columbus as well. Because quite frankly, I had been a Knights of Columbus member since around 1997, but had never really done much with either of the two councils that I belonged to. And it wasn't until I became a Knights on Bikes member where I started really taking part in my current council since I've moved to Washington, and attending council meetings and offering assistance where I can. And so it's brought me closer to Knights of Columbus, but my Catholic faith as well. So, kudos to you for bridging this gap and breaking these barriers down that are able to draw in new people.
Your story sounds a great deal like mine. When I joined the Knights of Columbus, I'm a convert from the year 2000. I joined the Knights of Columbus because I was looking for Catholic brotherhood where I can share my faith, my daily problems, my issues, and the Catholic fraternity, men's fraternity of the Knights of Columbus, I looked to very strongly on being what I was looking for. So I joined. I volunteered for everything that came up. Silver Shield. I was voted the council's Knight of the Year. I was nominated twice for state Knight of the Year, and so I really dedicated my life to the vision of Father McGivney. Well, after about 3 years, I kind of burnt myself out. I hosted a car show, didn't generate the kind of outcome that was hoped for, and I was taken aside by a trustee, got my feelings hurt. So I decided that I was going to step away from the Knights of Columbus and refocus my Catholic faith and maybe another direction. And I kept thinking, man, I'm looking for this Catholic men's fraternity. Where did it go? I know it's got to be there. So I jumped on the internet and I came across Knights on Bikes. And I read Raymond Medina's mission statement, started checking into it a little bit more. And ultimately, I ended up joining. And that has brought me back to the Knights of Columbus. The Knights on Bikes brought me back into the Knights of Columbus and a deeper love for my faith and fraternity from that today.
Here's the testimonial part. For all you guys who might be watching this and you're not a member of Knights of Columbus or Knights on Bikes yet, maybe you want a motorcycle, but your spouse is saying, nah, not the thing for you. You could say, well, you know what? God's on my side now. Knights of Bikes needs me. It's going to bring me closer.
Yeah, it will. It sure can. Yeah,
absolutely. I've had that same thing happen. You're sitting in mass and a guy will come up and he looks at the cut and he says, hey, how do I get some patches like that? Well, brother, let me tell you about the Knights of Columbus.
I think back to a ride that Santa and I went on last year that was not a Knights on Bikes event, but it was a 9/11 memorial ride put together by local veterans. And there were over 200 motorcycles there. I can't even tell you how proud I was to wear the cut. We were both, flying an American flag on our bikes, but the attention that we got because we were riding together with so many other riders, of course, we got questions.
Yeah.
That's and running and rides like that are great. We were able to speak with one of the event organizers that approached us and said, hey, what is this? I don't recognize this patch. And we were actually able to get added to their database. So we're recognized with that group now as another group. I
mean, we're getting attention, and, with your leadership up here, it's been good, Brother Blanco.
Yeah, it has. It's coming around.
Grown in that time too. I mean, Idaho's new, like we were talking about. Now Idaho's growing, and under your leadership, Montana launched. I mean, we're just growing the area in the 5 years that you've been here.
Yeah, good things for sure.
Good things, good blessings in here. Yeah. So you have been nominated and graciously accepted the nomination for National Vice President for the Pacific Time Zone. So I'm sure I don't know if you took it, intentionally, or if you had to do a lot of prayer and nudging from God first to say, yeah, I think I can do this,
Well, it kind of goes back to my earlier comment. We'll never be asked to do something we can't do. But to tell you the truth, yeah, I had a lot of discernment about it. I was nominated by more than just a couple of people, so I took that to heart and really prayed on it. I look forward to the possibility of journeying further in my journey of faith with the Knights of Columbus. To me, that's what this is. We're Knights of Columbus, and if I can continue my work for the Knights of Columbus through the Knights on Bikes Motorcycle Ministries, I think that's the direction that I've been leading in my thought process to do. Rhino, I got to tell you, there is no job description I discovered for VP, and I've come up with this just in the last couple of days. I would be simply a representative for Brother Knights on Bikes in the Pacific Time Zone between them and the executive board. I am the go-to guy, go-between guy. And also with that, I would be representing all my brothers to Supreme. I mean, if you think about it, it would be a position that could in fact lead us to greater acknowledgement and communications. I mean, to me, we have a great deal of lack of communication, lack of communications. And there are avenues that you've shared with me, Santa's shared with me. This podcast you're doing is just an opening door of the ability to communicate with our brothers down in Southern California, Hawaii, Nevada. This is going to be something phenomenal. And by that communication, we're going to see great things happen.
Historically, emails and phone calls are great, but I've noticed even in this last year, the addition of the Zoom meetings as we get together, and we've had several meetings and we've chatted and we've gone over things, we've prayed together, we've talked about things, we've worked things out. It's just in the last year, even it's grown so much. I'm excited to see what kind of innovation is out there amongst our membership, ideas that guys have. And under your leadership, we've been able to explore those. You haven't held us back. You said, hey, let's explore this. Let's look at this. And it's been phenomenal. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, if past performance is indicative of future progress, God willing, if it's in the cards for you to be our national VP, I can see that as being a good thing and growth for everyone. I know we won't be getting as much of your attention anymore because you're going to have to spread the love among all the brothers across the entire west coast of the United States. Yeah. But it'll be a good thing for all. Blanco?
Rhino, I just want to give kudos to both you and Santa for this podcast idea and moving it forward. I'm truly honored to be your first person.
Well, I appreciate knowing that and hearing that. No, but we are looking forward to doing many more of these podcasts. And yes, I don't want to call out anyone in particular. Ace Bagley, we're the national president. But did I say that out loud? No, Brother Ace has been very gracious in communications with me and has agreed to come on as well. So I'm really stoked to talk with him to see what his vision is and how we can help him move forward as well, since he was just recently reelected to our national president's position. So that's pretty exciting. I don't know, Santa, what are your thoughts?
We have so many moving pieces right now with these elections that are going. We're looking at new state presidents. We're looking at new president of diocese. We're looking at potentially new time zones. Ace Bagley was just reelected. And then we found out in the news today that there's a change in Supreme. So there is a lot of moving pieces. I'm looking forward to having a lot of good conversations this year and just spreading the word and letting everybody know what's going on. And in my next letter to the Vatican, I plan to invite the Holy Father to join us too. I don't know if I can promise anything, but he's kind of my pen pal. He hasn't written back yet, but I do write him. So I'm going to ask in the next letter.
So you have a deeper and closer connection, Santa, than most of us. So you go get him, brother. Go get him.
And I bought the fancy international stamps too, a whole book.
Woo, nice. Nice.
On our next show, can I have a sound effects board?
Yeah, bring it, man.
Gotcha.
Brother Blanco, thank you so much for your time, for your attention, your efforts, both with Nights on Bikes, locally, nationally, regionally, but also importantly for today, your time spending with us. We sure appreciate you, brother. And
it was a pleasure and an honor.
So, well, Godspeed.
I'm sure not. This isn't the last time you'll see us on this show.
Yeah. No. We know where you live.
All right, man.
All right. Well, take care. God bless. And we'll see you down the road.